ESPN welcomes you to Orlando, where you're watching the American Conference on ESPN. It is a gorgeous night in the city, beautiful, and a big matchup tonight inside the CFE Arena as two Atlantic Sun former foes getting set to battle against one another as the Gardner Webb Bulldogs come to town to take on the UCF Knights. And we are so glad you decided to join us tonight on ESPN. Alongside Mike O'Donnell, I'm Bernie Gunther. Well, sky-high expectations so far for UCF, coming off 24 wins a season ago, but they're already facing some adversity early on in the season.
No question about it. They caught the injury bug. B.J. Taylor has a hairline fracture in his foot. He's out 4 to 6 weeks. And Taco Fall still nursing a hip injury. He'll be out for a couple more games. They expect him back fairly soon, though, because they need the big fella back. Expectations, like you said, are the NCAA tournament this year for UCF. We
talked about it's really next man up for these UCF Knights. And for them, you see, DeJesus had a huge performance in opening night to go along with Deion Griffin.
DeJesus is a shifty freshman point guard. He has flashes of brilliance. The UCF coaching staff is really high on his ability to get out in transition and push the ball. Had 16 points in the opener against Mercer. And on the flip side, Deion Griffin was lights out from the three-point line. He's really trying to fill the shoes of Matt Williams, who was the sharpshooter for UCF last year, but arguably one of the best defenders on the UCF team. He's a special player.
Look at the night these two had on opening night against Mercer. 16 for DeJesus, 16 for Griffin. And the story on the flip side for Gardner Webb is they're hoping that DJ last year, he's going to be the next man up in the paint. And he had a big performance against Florida, coming off his first career double-double.
He was really good in the last few games for Gardner Webb. Against Miami and Florida, he's averaging double digits. And you could see against the Florida Gators, one of the best teams in the country, he put up 19 points and 10 rebounds. His coaching staff feels he has all Big South Conference potential, one of the most underrated players in that conference.
And head coach of Gardner Webb, Tim Kraft, his 5th season. In his 2nd season, he was the Big South coach to win 17-plus games in his first 4 seasons. He's led Gardner Webb to 3 straight Big South semifinal appearances. And David Effiani, he's a name that may ring familiar. He's one of the top returning wings in the league, and his brother played for the UCF Knights. On the flip side, Johnny Dawkins in his 2nd season. What did he do last year? UCF, they won 24-12. Their most wins in a season in program history since 2004-2005. And another new look tonight for the UCF Knights as they have to make adjustments because of the injuries.
Got to look at the big fellow, Rokas Olvidas, trying to fill the shoes of Taco Fall. He's a transfer from Texas Tech. Will get a lot of playing time this game.
Olvidas scored 7 points and had 4 rebounds in his opener as a night against Mercer. The Bulldogs and the Knights underway, and Gardner Webb wins. The opening tip is David Effiani will control it and get it over to Christian Turner, the sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia. Turner kicking it back out. And a traveling violation on Roboto to begin the contest. At UCF, they actually trailed Mercer at the half in their opening game, but went on to win 88-79. You watched the press conference afterwards, and they really talked about going back to the D. That was really, they felt like one of their bigger keys in the second half.
And really the energy guy for that defense was Deion Griffin. Holland for Mercer had over 20 points in the first half, and Griffin completely shut Holland down in the second half, made it a point of emphasis, made it personal to lock him up.
Look at how athletic A.J. Davis is, returning for his 3rd season with the Knights, the son of NBA All-Star Antonio Davis, and he is going to be a lot of fun to watch tonight. A little bump there by Griffin, but they'll play on as Roboto hands it off to Turner with 13 to shoot. Turner will kick it off. Roboto with a little jumper. And the loose ball is going to be picked up by A.J. Davis.
He's that point forward. The jack of all trades, can play 1 through 4 positions for UCF. That's A.J. Davis.
Griffin likes the spot, and he hits the bucket, and the Knights have the first 4.
He's going to be really good. I like his game a lot. Very efficient offensively. He's a very good three-point shooter. He made 5 threes a game at Louisiana Tech 2 years ago before he transferred.
They kick it in the corner, and Roboto down the lane, a little too strong, and they fight for it, and Cesar DeJesus wins the board. Let's break it down. Mike's X's and O's in tonight's battle between the Bulldogs and the Knights.
Big thing for Gardner Webb is you have to have patience. They run a ton of sets in the half court. Take your time and work the shot clock. No wasted possessions. You cannot turn the ball over, especially coming off back-to-back games in which you face two incredibly athletic opponents in Miami and Florida. UCF isn't far behind those two programs, so you cannot beat yourself by doing any unforced turnovers.
Yeah, right now, Gardner Webb, they're kind of on that Sunshine State tour, and it really hasn't been a vacation. As you see, a turnover for Griffin, who turns it over to Gardner Webb, and Effiani, a little out of control. He draws the foul. And the foul is going to go against A.J. Davis. Well, these two we talked about, the former Atlantic Sun Conference foes. It's their first meeting since 2005 in the Atlantic Sun tournament. UCF won the title 63-54. That coming up in Nashville, Tennessee.
The last time that that they met was actually the year I redshirted here at UCF when I transferred from NC State. That team went on to go to the NCAA tournament and challenged UConn to I think it was a 4-point game in the NCAA tournament that year.
David Effiani scored 13 against the Gators, hits 2 from the free throw line, and Gardner Webb is on the board, trailing by 2 early on here in the first half. Getting into the way with a little Wednesday night hoops to Jesus, looking for 3, and that one's going to go over the top of the backboard, and it's coming back out to Gardner Webb.
You'll see a pretty free-flowing offense that Coach Johnny Dawkins has instilled in this UCF team. Almost every single player that comes into the game that starts can handle the rock, can play in the perimeter, and those are the type of players that Coach Dawkins really likes to recruit and have on his squad. Gardner Webb runs a ton of half-court sets. The scouting report is deep every time you have to play Gardner Webb.
And look at Effiani making a move in the paint to tie it up at 4 points apiece.
Good-looking player, local kid, played at Ocoee High School just a few miles down the road from UCF. Like you mentioned before, his brother Tank Effiani was a really good player for 2 years at UCF.
Ovadas lost the handle on it. Sophomore from Lithuania. Johnny Dawkins, take a look at it, a 12-game improvement in the first season alone. Stanford head coach from 2008 to 2016. He's got 2 All-Americans, and a 2-time All-American and a Player of the Year back at Duke. And you think about the incredible turnaround in just 1 season, and he did it shorthanded as well, Mike.
Really only had 6 scholarship players, and Coach Dawkins, could you imagine playing for Coach Dawkins? You couldn't disagree with anything he says.
Right.
He did it at the college level, he did it at the pro level, and he coached national champions. I mean, I just keep my mouth shut and say, yes, sir, whatever you need.
Effiani a little too strong, and Chase McSpadden picks up the loose ball. This is to Jesus.
Terrell Allen is a really good compliment to Cesar DeJesus, who DeJesus a little bit more flashy, as you see a nice dump down pass to Chad Brown. A little bit more flashy, very shifty. Terrell Allen is your classic point guard in a sense that he's a pass-first setup man, very consistent, averaged close to 5 assists a game when he was at Drexel. Very good assist-to-turnover ratio.
Brandon Miller, who's from Orlando, comes into the game. Nice feed down to Brown. A little too strong. He's going to go to the free throw line. I think one of the things to me that's most impressive for UCF, taking a look at last year, is that they finished 11-7 in the American. That's the first time that they finished over 500 in conference play.
Their best record in the American Conference, and they did it, like you said. We talk about shorthanded. I mean, I just can't reiterate enough. When a player gets in foul trouble, or if a player gets nicked or banged up, and you turn around and you just see a couple walk-ons on the bench that are able to play, you have to look at yourself and say, what do we have to do to preserve some of these guys? And what Coach Dawkins did was he went to a really, really good, long, and efficient 2-3 zone. You put Taco Fall in the middle, and that really completely changed the way that they played. And they led the country in field goal percentage defense with that 2-3 zone.
And they extended the pressure here as Turner brings it up for the running Bulldogs, down 2.
And that's the difference between last year's team and this year's team, but that's how you break pressure. What an excellent drive by Effiani.
Wow, Effiani, he's got 4 of the 6 early on here for Gardner Webb.
You're telling me he doesn't have a little added motivation being a local Orlando kid coming to play at his hometown?
Brown backing him down. Loose ball, DJ Laster picking it up, and Laster is going to slow things down.
Nice kick.
Effiani for three, coming up short. Terrell Allen, who had 6 points in his debut as the night, brings it up, and that one was way off the mark. The shot by McSpadden sends us to our first media timeout here inside the CFE Arena. Gardner, Webb, UCF, all tied up 6 apiece as we're just getting underway with Wednesday night basketball from Orlando. All tied 6 apiece early on here in Orlando. We talked about adversity at the onset, and some big adversity for the Knights without B.J. Taylor. Preseason All-Conference, came in with 850 career points. This is a guy you just don't want to lose.
Yeah, one of the toughest point guards to guard, not just in the American Conference, but the country. He had a very unfortunate injury, and it really didn't look like he came down in that awkward of a position. But he is sorely missed, and I tell you, he is devastated that he can't be out here with his teammates. This was going to be a really special start to the year for UCF, but like B.J. Taylor would tell you, and just like Coach Dawkins would tell you, it's not an excuse for any lack of effort. You can't be B.J. Taylor. No player on this team is going to be B.J. Taylor, so you have to just play your game, you play together, and you win the UCF way that you started that process in the summer leading up to preseason.
Yeah, not only are they without B.J. Taylor, but they're also without Taco Fall. He comes in with a 72% field goal percentage, the best ever in UCF history, and they're without the biggest man in the world. It seems like it's 7'6", and he is a huge presence. Obviously, it was a big deal for UCF for him to test the NBA waters and come back to play another season here in Orlando. But they don't get Taco Fall to begin the season.
Tallest player in college basketball. I don't know how you order a size 22 shoe. That's incredible. But he'll be missed anytime. What he does so well, a lot of times doesn't even show up in the stat sheet, is he will affect shots in a way that he doesn't necessarily get a block or a steal or a tip, but he alters shots and he forces the offense to take shots that they are unaccustomed to taking.
Brandon Miller cleans it up for Gardner Webb, and they have their first lead of this contest, leading 8-6. Allen just 10 to shoot, lost the ball, and Brown somehow got a hand on it and pushed it ahead to Roboto. This is Cornwall.
It's the thing that you love about Gardner Webb. Every Gardner Webb team every single year is tough. They're gritty. They don't turn the ball over, and they play really good half-court defense. This is one of those teams you just are always nervous to play against.
Effiani, who already has 6 with a miss, and Griffin comes down with a board. McSpadden around the back, kicks it back out. Obviously, second season with the shot clock being adjusted, the game has a much more picked up pace offensively, which I like.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's a point of emphasis as you take a look at Taco Fall. Obviously, he's dressed, but he's not expected to play tonight. Everybody's trying to play faster, Bernie. You know, every team across the country, we like it as fans when there's more scoring, there's more freedom of movement. That's what basketball should be, in my opinion. It is a finesse game, and you know, with some of the rules adjustments and the way I spoke to the referees before the game and how they're calling hand checking and physical contact when you're trying to manipulate the cutter when he cuts through the lane, they're trying to speed the game up and make it more of a free-flowing atmosphere. But that's also a difference between the UCF team this year as to opposed to last year. Last year took their time, ran their offense, ran the shot clock down. This year, playing 9-10 players deep with really great guard play, you want to play fast and you want to press and you want to get up and run and you want to fast break points. You need those easy buckets.
Davis, 15 to shoot, finds DeJesus down the lane, and a foul inside on the paint.
It's another great pass by DeJesus. He has that really great vision you love in a point guard. Check out this wraparound pass as Olvidas is able to catch it and grab a foul.
They'll inbound it again. This is another big change, is obviously the clock resetting back to 20 as they inbound it to Davis. Doesn't waste any time, goes straight to the board, but too strong, and rebounded by Eric Jamison. Cornwall looking for a bucket for Gardner Webb, and the Bulldogs, look at this, up by 4 early on. They're on a 10-2 run since they trailed UCF 4-0 to begin the contest.
He scored in double digits against the Florida Gators a few nights ago. Cornwall is a really good-looking freshman.
Looked like another good look created by DeJesus, but he just couldn't finish. He was 6 of 9 from the floor, grabbed 3 steals in the win versus Mercer. DeJesus is a real game changer as well. We talked about he redshirted last year as a true freshman, grew up in Baltimore, averaged 19 points a game at Mount Zion Prep, and he's come in and has really done great being inserted into this lineup right away.
He's going to be really good. I'll put my coaching hat on real quick, but I'll really just quote Coach Dawkins. He said, I love the way that he's fearless, and he'll make one incredible play, but then he'll make a freshman play too. And it's something that he's got to work on and be a little bit more patient.
Well, Vitas just couldn't keep a handle on it. It's another UCF turnover. They kick it out to Cornwall. Good ball movement, but that time it was Allen who got a hand on it, and he draws the foul. Nice job by UCF of creating that steal.
Griffin, Allen, DeJesus, they all average over 2 steals a game, and they're just really good at getting their hands into the passing lanes, deflecting passes, trying to come up with that loose ball steal to initiate the fast break.
Good look from the outside for Griffin. Wide open look for 3. Can't hit. And the Knights are 0 for 6 from the field over a span of about 6 minutes or so. 6 minutes plus. Cornwall kicks it out. As Gardner Webb trying to take advantage of that drought. Cornwall driving to the hoop too strong. And rebounded by Nathan Lang, the redshirt senior from North Carolina, who's on the floor now for UCF.
Good drive by Cornwall. It's just a play that you have to finish.
Lang will pull it out.
I'll be honest with you, I expected this from UCF this game. Without B.J. Taylor, you're trying to figure out who your leader is on offense, and DeJesus has the ability to be that guy, to be that playmaker in the half court.
We're talking about trying to replace somebody that's 150 points away from being a part of the 1,000-point club in his career in B.J. Taylor, and he's only a junior. So that obviously tells you that he brings to the table a whole lot of offense, as we see Liam O'Reilly with a miss there.
Nice pass.
Vitas, that time he could grab it. Took him a second to grab a handle on it. A couple times down low we've seen him get some good passes, but just can't corral it.
He's learning. He's still a very young player.
And Jesus is fouled, and he's going to go to the line and a chance for a 3-point lead. Trying to give UCF the lead. Cesar DeJesus trying to step up, try to take the spot of B.J. Taylor. He's tied it up, and I have a chance to give UCF the lead when we come back. Welcome back to Orlando, where you're watching the American Conference on ESPN. UCF, Gardner Webb tied up at 10 apiece, and Cesar DeJesus trying to be creative. Fouled, and he's going to go to the line here. He's one of the players that's really got to step up for this team in the absence of B.J. Taylor.
The key is one of the players. You can't replace B.J. Taylor with just one other guy. It needs to be a collective effort. It's something that McSpadden, Griffin, DeJesus, and Allen have to do together as that backcourt group.
And I think it tells you, you take a look at combined tonight for both these teams, not taking care of the basketball very well. 8 turnovers, 1 assist, and that kind of just lends to tell you how important a guy like B.J. Taylor is. And I guess it's kind of a good news, bad news situation. Is the American Conference obviously is a month and a half away, so you have some time to try to figure it out. But it's not easy, obviously, and you hate to go without a player like B.J. Taylor for 4 to 6 weeks.
You know, honestly, I think it's a combination between, yes, with B.J. Taylor out, obviously it affects the game in a drastic way, but at any given time, you may have 3 or 4 brand new faces on the court at once for UCF, and they're still trying to figure out what is their chemistry on offense, especially when that's compounded with B.J. Taylor being out for a few games.
Chad Brown at the free throw line. Last season averaged 4 points a game. He goes 1 of 2. And the Knights are up by 2, leading 12 to 10, extending the defense once again. Running Bulldogs with some struggle shooting, 4 of 14 from the field so far in the first half. It's 28%. Effiani, the leading scorer, is taking the bulk of the shots, and they get a good look down low for DJ Laster.
He's the guy who's been a little too quiet for Gardner Webb. He needs to get going.
And quickly down the other lane, Chad Brown cleans it up after the miss by Cesar DeJesus.
That's what the press does. UCF didn't get a steal, but it forced Gardner Webb into playing faster than they are accustomed to.
Good move down for Laster. We talked about for Gardner Webb, they graduated their 3-time All-Big South forward Nelson last spring. They're looking really for the production in the paint, and Laster's really probably one of the biggest players, and they look to step up in that 4 spot.
They need him too, because Nyangane is not a scorer. He is more of a defender. As you take a look at this fast break, follow dunk by Chad Brown, which is his game. He's the garbage man, cleaning up the mess that all his guards leave around the rim. But going back to your point, Laster has to be one of the guys. I think between Laster, Robitou, and Effiani, those 3 players for Gardner Webb need to be that 3-headed monster on the offensive end. It has to put up points for this team.
10 minutes ago here in the first half, Knights up by 2. Gardner Webb trying to get some flow offensively. Robitou coming up short. And another rebound after a miss for Allen and the UCF Knights, pushing the ball the other way, and you like to see Cesar DeJesus. He continues to push it, and the Knights are going to go back to the line.
I think fearless is a good word to describe DeJesus. Even though he's a freshman, redshirted last year due to academically ineligible, fixed his grades, back on the court, and he is fearless in the half court and full court. He's very shifty. You know what he does a lot, Bernie? We'll probably see it this game. He has that really nice Euro step.
Yep.
You know, where you'll see him in any kind of one-on-one semi-transition. He'll take 1 step to the left, and then he'll shift his body to the right. It's a beautiful move.
DeJesus connects on both. A good first half for DeJesus. He's got 6 points. He's got the Knights leading by 4 with 9.5 to play. And right now, you got to credit UCF because they talked about their struggles against Mercer in the first half a week ago on opening night was mainly because they weren't getting the type of defensive effort. I would think that so far Johnny Dawkins has got to be pleased with this defensive effort as they're about to get a shot clock violation. Oh, bailed out by Douglas, who's going to be called for the foul. Miles Douglas, who had 4 points and 3 boards against Mercer, the freshman from Maryland.
The defensive effort's been fine. You've seen a combination mix between man and zone. You've seen some press, a couple different presses. You saw a 2-2-1 as well as a 1-2-1-1. And because of their depth, because of their athleticism, you will see multiple defensive looks for UCF this year.
And Allen again got another handle on it, and Gardner Webb late in the possession once again. This is O'Reilly. O'Reilly with a long move, and he's blocked inside by Brown. A huge block by the junior. And Jesus the other way. Nice feed inside to Allen, but they couldn't convert. And now quickly the other way. Christian Turner comes up short.
Well, that was what you would call a little bit of a sloppy full-court possession there for both teams. You know, it's one of those that might be on the film session. See, you take two things with the Jesus there, is you love the way that he pushed the ball, probed the defense, and he got close to the rim. But then he dumped it down to Allen, who was standing underneath the basket, who's 6 foot, and he's literally directly underneath the basket. And there's nothing you can do with that possession. It's better to dribble that back out. But on the flip side, Gardner Webb doing exactly what they need to do. Run back, set up your defense, you get a steal, push it back in transition, get to the free throw line. That's the best way to get yourself back into the flow of the game. Get to the free throw line, you can breathe, you get a couple freebies.
4 for 4 start from the free throw line for Gardner Webb. The American very stacked. You take a look at Cincinnati, Wichita State, right there at the top of the American, but UCF figures to be one of the teams, as we talked about, with the expectations to be tourney bound at the end of the year.
Well, how about that preseason poll to where Wichita State's ranked 5th in the country, yet the coaches and media picked Cincinnati to win the American. No love for the new guys.
Yeah, and you take a look at Cincinnati, they're obviously playing without a home this year as well, which could be a little bit of a storyline. You know, well, you got a home, but you don't have a home, if you will.
To be honest with you, it hasn't affected them all. They're currently averaging 100 points a game. This is the best offensive team that Mick Cronin has had, I think, in the history since he's been at Cincinnati. We all know how good they are defensively, but this year they have a transfer from Sacred Heart, Kane Broom, who was one of the leading scorers in the country, not just his conference, but the country, averaging over 20 points a game 2 years ago. He is a lethal scorer.
Well, let's put it this way. They may want to pack up the hoops and the rims and bring them over to the new arena. Yeah, obviously they're calibrated well.
Well, it's funny, at media day I asked Coach Cronin that, and he goes, I think I'm going to pull I'm going to pull an idea out of the movies, and I'm going to take the movie was Hoosiers, right? Yep. He takes the tape measure and he says, hey guys, it's still 10 feet to the rim. The three-point line is the exact same. We're going to be fine. Gene Hackman is the actor I was thinking of. There you go.
A.J. Davis, 1 of 2 from the line. UCF leading by 3. 8 minutes to play. Gardner Webb could really use some help offensively. It's really been Effiani. He's the leading scorer. He's got 6 of the 14. They got another turnover as the Knights turn it over. A.J. Davis gets it out to Lang. Seven turnovers. And on the flip side, the Knights have turned it over for the 4th time, and they get it right back. A miss by DeJesus, however.
See, that's a bad shot. You got a great opportunity. There's no reason to take a contested 3.
Effiani with a strong move to the hoop.
Gardner Webb needs to slow down, to me. The last thing they want to do is get in a foot race. And if Gardner Webb can slow down, run some offense, they'll get back into this game.
Well, the Knights are getting some big help from Chad Brown early on, and they lead it 17-14. It is a perfect night here in Orlando, 67 degrees, and this is why you live in the Sunshine State, to have days like we've had the last couple of days. And you take a look at UCF, they've got a lot to look forward to weather-wise here in the winter, as well as on the basketball court. As you take a look at a team that comes back with a lot of key returners, their only real key loss is Matt Williams.
Yeah, which is a big loss because his ability to stretch a defense was one of the best in the country last year. But obviously you have Terrell Allen, Miles Douglas, and Dayon Griffin, who are all playing this year. Coach Dawkins' son, Aubrey Dawkins, hurt his shoulder and actually had a season-ending injury. And most people actually felt that he was going to be a first or second round draft pick in this upcoming 2018 NBA draft. He was that good of a player, transferred from Michigan. So as much as he will be missed, next year's team with him back will be really good as well.
Well, last year the Knights, they had success with just 9 scholarship players because of a number of transfers sat out. So kind of deja vu, but not the way that they thought it would be deja vu for the Knights, as you see a miss on the outside. Big rebound for DJ Laster, and he's got the follow and the jam.
Oh my gosh, the follow. He just about dunked on the soul of Ovidas. That was big time. Whoa.
It's been a good start for the junior from Pensacola. He's doubled his production in the first 2 games of this season. A miss by A.J. Davis, and here comes Effiani going the other way, and another big finish for Laster, but it doesn't go.
Yeah, Laster is all over, playing mean, playing angry, and that's what you need. You talked about it earlier, Bernie. That's exactly what Gardner Webb needs, is if Laster can get going, he can play with that energy, which is the exact same way he played against Florida when he had 19 points and 10 rebounds just a few nights ago. Big, physical, aggressive presence for the running Bulldogs.
Yeah, last year averaging 8 points a game, coming off the bench in all 33 games, about 18 minutes a game, as you see Davis down low, and A.J. Davis gets the roll.
We talked a lot about the backcourt for UCF, but A.J. Davis really is the guy to keep the ship afloat for UCF.
Effiani kicks it into the corner, and that's a really good look there for Liam O'Reilly.
He is a herky-jerky scorer, a lethal three-point shooter. You just saw it right there. It does not take him long to get his shot off.
Davis down low, working on Laster, kicks it out to Griffin. Griffin with a look for 3, and it's way offline. How about DJ Laster and the impact he's made in this contest? Take a look at the big man.
Just a tremendous performance these last couple possessions for Laster. Look at this dunk. I mean, just a quick bounce, and nothing like dunking on the soul of your opponents. Even though that didn't count, yet just shows you the aggressiveness that Laster, I mean, he must have got an earful from Coach Tim Kraft in that last media timeout.
Turner will bring it up for Gardner Webb. 19-19, 6 minutes to play. We got a good one here early on at the CFE Arena. Gardner Webb's hoping that maybe they can find their groove offensively, as Laster and O'Reilly have come to life. And look at Laster down the lane with a little magic.
This is a guy that came off the bench last year, and he is asked to be one of the more prominent players offensively for Gardner Webb. His coaches feel he is one of the most underrated players in the Big South Conference.
Laster with his first 2 baskets of this contest. He's got 4 points. Allen with some good vision. Getting it over to Jesus down the line, kicks it off to Brown, and we're going to see Brown go to the line.
How did DeJesus make that pass? How did he see Chad Brown? That was a phenomenal wraparound pass along the baseline. Take a look at this. Elevated, man, that's smooth.
Great vision there, and talked about DeJesus, just a redshirt freshman. Brown comes to the line, a perfect 4 of 4 from the free throw line so far in this one, making 5 of 5. He's got 7 points, and the Knights are within 1. Knights are in the double bonus, the final 5 minutes of this first half. And Brown has got them both. Good night for the Knights in the free throw line. They are 8 of 11 from the free throw line as a team. That's another thing that Johnny Dawkins likes to see improvement on for UCF, taking care of business at the free throw line.
They're really only an average free throw shooting team last year, with Chad Brown, Taco Fall, A.J. Davis, and B.J. Taylor. Those guys shoot a lot of free throws. That percentage goes up, your scoring goes up, and it allows you to hop into the press. It's the best time to set up your presses on the free throw line.
Allen called for the foul. And so that's going to bring Johnson to the free throw line.
As much as we talk about how good UCF was defensively last year, 5th in the nation in rebounds per game, led the nation in field goal percentage defense, their offense was very important. They were 16-0 when they scored 70 or more points, and they were 9-12 when they scored less than 70.
Look at McSpadden cleaning it up. He missed it and then fought to get the rebound, and now there's going to be a rebound and a foul down low. That'll put the Knights back at the line.
Gardner Webb doing exactly what they need to do, forcing UCF to take tough contested jumpers, and they've gotten back in transition to limit the fast break opportunities for the Knights. So far, so good for the running Bulldogs.
Fallon O'Reilly, his second. Davis converts the front end.
And I know you see it too, Bernie. They're a physical, gritty team, but it makes you wonder, can you sustain that in the second half, coming off 2 difficult back-to-back losses at Miami and at Florida? I don't care if you're a mid-major or not, that is a really tough road trip.
Well, you think about momentum. Obviously,
Absolutely.
you love to come in as a team and get a couple of wins to start the season. You hate to start your season 0 for 3. Obviously, that doesn't take them out of contention to do some big things in the Big South where they're intended to do so, as we see a shot there by O'Reilly that goes off the line, and it's cleaned up down low by Nyangane.
Nyangane is a junior, kind of 6'10", out of France, veteran center. Probably one of the most physical centers in the Big South Conference. Doesn't not look to be a scorer, more look to be that bruiser, that rebounder, and block shots, take up space in the lane.
Affiani comes down with a loose ball. 4 minutes to play. Johnson looks for 3. It's off the line. Davis thought about passing it, then goes up, trying to get the shot, rebounded by O'Reilly among the bigs. And here comes Affiani trying to convert. And Laster going up strong, and that time he goes up strong, a little soft touch there to get the bucket.
He's tired. He's tired. He is gassed, and rightfully so. He has been the hardest player on the floor for either team right now.
Laster, the only player in double figures on the floor right now with 10 points.
If I'm Coach Kraft, I'm saying, please hang in there until halftime. If I'm Johnny Dawkins, I'm saying we need to block Laster out. We need to push him out of the lane. He's not taking three-pointers. He's not taking jumpers, but Laster has been a beast for Gardner Webb, doing everything down low, tip-ins, dunks, trying to get the running Rebels back into contention here for UCF. Up 2.
Well, Tim Kraft and the Gardner Webb running Bulldogs hoping for some success this year in the Big South. Take a look at the season preview for the Bulldogs coming into this year. They're 0-2 so far, but they got a bunch of key returners. They were picked to finish 5th in the Big South in the preseason poll.
Plenty of veteran returners in Laster, Effiani, O'Reilly, and Roboto. But really, this team's going to be fine, in my opinion. They will really push for that Big South title. This is a team that beat Wofford in an exhibition game, a Wofford team that is one of the best scoring teams in the country. Actually held them to 70 points. So a good defensive team. The Gardner Webb, they're not going to score 90 points a game, but they like to live in the 60s. You know, that is their sweet spot. They want to beat teams 65 to 60.
Trying to make maybe a little bit of history, if you will, here. They're only 3-14 against the American in program history. They got 2 wins against East Carolina and a win against UCF, albeit before UCF was a part of the American. But as you talked about, probably just trying to go on the road. You went down to Miami and struggled. They went against a very difficult Florida Gator team up in Gainesville 2 nights ago, and a chance to hopefully have the 3rd time the charm. The good news for Gardner Webb tonight is they go in and they face a UCF team that probably is bound for the tournament if they could get healthy. But right now, without Taco Fall and without B.J. Taylor, it's really a different looking Knights team.
If you're Gardner Webb, you got to feel that if we want to steal one on this road trip, this is the team to steal it from, because of the injuries for UCF and a lot of the new faces. They're still trying to figure out who they are. I mean, they lost to Miami, but that Florida Gators that's a potential Final Four team. I mean, they have a ridiculous amount of talent.
Brown down low, just 2 to shoot. They kick it out. Allen, it's good if it goes, and it does go.
It's a great pass out of the double team by Chad Brown. Allen is a capable three-point shooter. He doesn't always look for a shot, but he can knock it down when called upon.
It's the Knights' first three-point basket of the game after an 0-for-6 start from bonus land early on. Effiani trying to go inside, and Allen got a hand on it again. They do indeed feed the big man and Brandon Miller. Count the basket. He's going to go to the line with a chance to tie it with 1:30 to play.
That was a great pass, too. Take a look at Chad Brown now, the double team. Terrell Allen knocks it at the buzzer. That's one way to get a three-pointer. This UCF team is a good three-point shooting team, but a little cold here in the first half.
Here's Miller. We talked about down 10 pounds since a year ago, looking to increase his minutes, increase his productivity. Made just 1 start last year as a sophomore.
He's another local kid, played for Reggie Cohn at Orlando Christian Prep, won a state Florida title.
And I would think that as a student athlete, you get after the conditioning, you make a huge body change in the offseason to see another three-point basket made by McSpadden over in the corner. That's got to get the coach's attention, right?
Well, or maybe it was the design of the coaches to do that. You know, you say, hey, look, we need you this year. We need you to drop some weight. We need you to get in better conditioning. So much of it's less about just getting out and sweating and running. So much of it is nutrition. And that's how you really take care of your body. Make sure you're eating the right thing and in complement to the conditioning. You could run all day, but then go home and eat a 6-pack of donuts. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about how much more they know about the well-being of these student athletes as far as the training side of it, things taking care of business off the court.
Well, you're seeing an increased number of NBA players actually go vegan. And Tom Habistro actually wrote a really great article on ESPN.com. You should take a look at it. He breaks down analytically how important it is for players' nutrition, NBA players, to where they can gauge their energy levels throughout the course of the game, depending on what they ate throughout the course of the day.
Brown goes up and grabs the loose ball, and he's fouled. He'll go to the free throw line for the final 30 seconds, and a chance for UCF to add to this three-point advantage. We thought that after an 0-for-6 start from three-point land, they might go 3 for 3. McSpadden got a nice look in the corner there.
McSpadden is going to be a very good player for UCF. He's a long-rangey, shorter version of a Tajon Prince type player, to where he can do a variety of things for UCF.
Timeout here on the floor. Final 28 seconds as Chad Brown About to go to the free throw line.
You know, to go back to your point, Bernie, about the nutrition, as you take a look at the standings for the American Conference, I always felt when I was playing, the NCAA rules changed over time, and I always felt that it was less about me getting paid and getting money and more about I wanted more food.
Right.
I wanted better nutrition, and now the rules, because I couldn't even – if I was hungry, the coaches couldn't even give me a peanut butter sandwich,
right?
Or even like a jar of peanuts, because it was against the rules. But now, the way the NCAA has adjusted over time, it's taken a long time for them to adjust.
Right.
But now you have different snack stations that each team can have, and that's for all Division I institutions, to where you can provide your team snacks throughout the day and on road trips and at home games. And it has really, in my opinion, elevated not just the play of the players, but really the energy and the nutrition of the players, and the health is the most important thing.
When you think about it, the way that even training table has evolved over
Absolutely.
the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's not a sloppy Joe sandwich anymore. You know, you're getting chicken and eggs and vegetables and fruit, and you're actually getting real protein and carbohydrates and the type of food that your body needs if you're going to be running 10 miles a day on the court.
Yeah, after Brown went 6 for 6, he misses 2, and a chance to tie it at the buzzer. Rebounded by McSpadden, and he'll try it, and it's UCF. This time going into the locker room with a lead. They started 0 for 6 from three-point land, and then they found their groove from the outside. A three-point basket for Allen, three-point basket for McSpadden, and it's UCF with a 31-28 lead at the half.